Hi, everybody. Hey, Lino, how are you?
It's good to see you, Scott. How are you?
Likewise. I'm good. I'm good. Welcome into the Proven Alliance studio. It's good to have a little chat. Um, Lino, you spent a lot of time helping, thinking, supporting, understanding AI. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I think from since 2018 till now, it has been heavy on
Yeah.
AI. Way before Gen AI was very sexy.
Okay. I'll have to go back to figure out that date. Um, well, let's just have that conversation about sort of where you've been lately, sort of from a thought leadership sort of discussion perspective. What have you been talking to people about, and what's getting them excited? What's got you motivated to try and help people advance their embrace of AI right now?
Yeah, it's really a phenomenon. I mean, we're having so
It
much
really
fun
is.
with it lately, at least for the last maybe 18 months to 2 years. The fun part for me is that a lot of people that take a look at what's going on with AI and they end up watching some videos on YouTube and then going to a conference and they say, "Oh, this is so easy."
Right.
You ask a question, you get an answer, everybody's happy. This is amazing. And then an enterprise try to actually finding out that it's not that easy. It's
Right.
actually there is scalability, there is extendability, there is security issues around that, the RAG and the vectorization and all that stuff. It gets a little bit complicated after a while, especially for financial institutions and medical companies. They do not want to actually be in the wrong for this type of
Right.
stuff.
Right. I think that's like a whole other episode we can do, is like get you to sort of roll back on some of those terms that you just dropped. But listening to you there, I think it's fair to say that there is excitement around this at the enterprise level, and probably even below that too, across the market. Businesses actually feeling like now is the moment to figure out how to embrace this. And so there are some challenges and some learning to do, but the excitement is around the fact that this does feel accessible to us as practitioners and experienced delivery professionals of some sort. Is that fair to summarize it that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the people for a long time have been looking at Gen AI and AI in general for summarization, creating
Yeah.
text, but this is not really where the money is. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
an enterprise is not interested in summarizing a couple of paragraphs into a short sentence, so they're not
Right.
going to be paying money for that. What they're
Right.
looking for is recommendation and analytics. For me
Right.
to be able to upload thousands of documents, for instance, legal documents, or let's say
Sure.
some medical document, pharmaceutical documents, or manufacturing documents, and being able to give an instance to say, for instance, this is my situation. My name is Lino. This is my credit score. This is my W-2. This is what I have. This is what I own. Will I qualify for a Fannie Mae uh, kind of government-based mortgage? And then you don't have to read the whole 1,000 documents. It will actually go and get the chunks from everywhere it needs. It will tell you, yes, you will qualify, or no, you cannot have two homes in the same county for you to get. All that stuff happens very fast. And this is where the value is, the recommendation and being able to analyze the data.
And
Makes sense?
obviously, a capacity exists there to digest incredible amounts of information without having to catalog it. So what you just described, if I think of some of the projects that we've ever been involved with to do something remotely similar to that, there's a lot of work that has to go into data structure, data cleanliness, organization, and then it requires an interface of some sort to search, filter, summarize to the best of your ability, even with or without AI. But we can now, the royal we, the world can now upload that information, make it available to be ingested by the AI platforms, and trust that it can be effectively distilled, understood, processed in a way to then help with the kinds of queries that you just described.
Absolutely. And of course, for security reasons, based on which company is trying to do that, there is so many level of granularity, how you're going to set up the security itself, whether it's column-based, row-based, masking. You want to use data protection for PII, for instance, especially in the EU and here and also in the United States and everywhere in the world. You don't want everybody to have access to the database to see the salaries in your HR, for instance. How are you going to be able to limit that and data protect that based on your identity and who's asking the questions? And the data is indexed. The data is in there, but do you have access to it? Should you have access to it? So there is a difference between where the data is coming from and where is it being indexed and who's actually asking the question. And we want it to be accurate. And if you don't know the answer, say, I don't know. Do not go hallucinate. All of these things are very important.
So again, I guess, back to my first question, the excitement is around the fact that, if I'm hearing you correctly, that solving those scenarios, addressing those use cases was not achievable before and now is. Is that so understanding those security parameters and applying those to an AI model is now a possibility?
Yes, I remember we used to do that programmatically because we are coders and geeks. We could do that with SQL statement, but a business analyst wanted to ask a question in English, wanted to find out, for instance, what is the possibility for me to actually invest in this company? And there is the last 3 years of the 10K. Can you tell me? And I want to answer for that, but I can do that with SQL statement if I understand the business, if I understand the stock market, if I understand all that stuff. I can do whatever I want. That's why these people made a lot of money for a long time.
Right.
But now with AI, I could be a regular business person and just asking a question in English. If I can put my thoughts in proper English, all right, that's what we call prompt engineering. Being able to give it exactly what it can and cannot do in proper English, the system should be good enough to be able to get you a very good recommendation analytics coming back.
With the right safeguards followed.
Absolutely. The safeguards should be implemented, whether you put it in the prompt engineering or not. It should be in the back anyway. The content safety, the Microsoft Presidio, for instance, if you're going to use something with Microsoft for DII, never to bring back a named entity for a person, for a company, for a credit card, for a social security number, all that stuff, whether you ask for it or not, you should never be getting it back or entering into the response itself. Make sense?
Yeah. So we're talking about the enterprise scenario, and in a lot of the work that we do, that is a valid case. But we've known each other in the Sitefinity ecosystem for a long time, and we know that there is a spectrum of users and clients in that world as well, from enterprise right down to smaller businesses. How accessible is this across the market? Is this something that you really do have to have enterprise-sized resources in order to unlock, or is there different entry points? Sort of give me a sense of the availability and accessibility across the market from that perspective.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Sitefinity for a second. So, Sitefinity has some very nice features for AI built into it already. Yeah, and they're available in the form of in the WYSIWYG editor that they have. Yeah, you can highlight a specific amount of data. It can summarize it for you. It can create data. So again, it's from the creation of data kind of thing. Okay? But a lot of people have been asking, well, the database in Sitefinity is about 278 different tables. Okay, right. I don't know where things are. And I don't want to get into writing code for the API. I just want to go ahead and ask some specific questions in my database. Yep. What are the best performing 3 blog posts on my website? Yep. What was the last time over 1,000 people used one of my press releases or read my press releases? Okay. Yep. What was how many admins do I have in the system? A business analyst can ask these questions very easily. So there are a lot of different things that you can do currently in the industry to be able to talk to a database. Or if you'd like to call it through the API itself, there is a way to do that. It's called function calling, like from the OpenAI assistant. You can do that as well. Very easy to do. It's a few lines of code. Actually, on YouTube, I have some videos to show people with Sitefinity how to do the Llama index and the LangChain and the orchestrator to be able to actually get to that point and being able to create tools that know the structure of Sitefinity and being able to be very useful for people getting answers from their database and from their API.
And fair to say, there's also some of that machine learning and intelligence built into Sitefinity Insight and understanding the ROI of your content, as well as these direct capabilities to turn on some of the database exploration as well. So maybe in the last moment here, the last question I'll ask you is, what excites you about what's emerging, what's coming in this landscape?
Well, lately I've been working very heavily on knowledge graphs, and that is the next thing, because RAG, the way RAG works, and maybe another episode where we can dig deep into RAG. RAG is all about actually just getting specific chunk of data instead of having all the data, because you pay money when you send all this data to the LLM. So you just want to get the relative chunks only to send to the LLM, so you can pay less money. And it also has semantic similarities in understanding what you're asking about.
Right.
The unfortunate part is, if you have 250,000 documents and you're asking a questions that have to touch all of them, RAG is not very good at that. RAG is about getting specific chunks, pass it to the LLM. But when you want to ask a question, it's a blanket question, for instance, it loses the relationship. So now with the knowledge RAG, this is a graph RAG base, for instance. So Microsoft has an implementation. There is a Light RAG. There is a Neo4j. There's a lot of different things out there. What they do is actually create nodes and communities of your documents that keep a relationship between all of them, so that when you ask a question, it has like a 1 mile high view of everything available before it gets into the chunks itself. And that gets you a lot more accurate data when your question is a blanket question that has to touch the entire data.
Well, more accurate and I guess more efficient, more cost effective.
Well, right now it's not very cost effective. They're still working on it. Well, it's still in research. Remember, the people that are creating this are in research. So it's not cost effective. It's more expensive. So they are trying to work on it to bring it to be cost effective and make it faster, because it takes a lot more time to create the indexes, and also more money to be able to do something like that. So when it will get down, it will get it right.
Well, and I guess, is it fair to say that there is AI actually used in two places there? One to figure out the best execution path, and the other to actually deliver the answer?
There is a lot more than that involved.
Okay.
But it does have its flaws right now. That's why it's still in research. Once it gets to the mainstream, it would be an excellent way of actually being able to get a blanket question that touches millions of different documents using the nodes and the community they're building on top of that. But for right now, we're just playing around with that stuff, experimenting and finding out the machine learning behind all that stuff, how it works.
Well, sir, listen, I am delighted to, with the confidence that you are part of the Proven Alliance, so that we have experts like you at an arm's length, so that our clients can get that benefit and understand how to capitalize on this and make the most use of it. Thanks for your time, Lino. I look forward to the next discussion. My page is half filled with new words I'm going to ask you about on the next one.
Always a pleasure to see you, Scott. Have a great one. I love the shirt.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody.